And we're off. So, welcome everybody. So, a little kind of pre-recorded conversation between myself and Matt's V Movies, if I got it right. Yeah, there you go.
Hi,
Hi,
Rob.
Matt. Thanks for joining us. So we decided after the last discussion, it went quite well about the Matrix. We thought we would then move on to Back to the Future, as you can see.
Yeah,
So,
the DeLorean.
yeah, I have that one as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think we're both quite big. I mean, for me, it's my favourite trilogy of all time. So I know that's quite a high regard for me. I don't class them as individual movies. I like them as one story. But that will be, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that in. I mean, do you like one specific one or is it all of them? Or
Now, I have to agree. I mean, I suppose the first two are the best, but I do like the third one. And I agree with you. It works as a trilogy. And in some ways, it's nice, fingers crossed, it will stay as a trilogy.
yeah,
They've never, I mean, obviously with Michael J. Fox and he's, Parkinson's, it's unlikely that he would come back to reprise the role. But I don't feel there's a need sometimes with some of these franchises that we have to have remakes, we have to have reboots. It's just nice to have something that's we can all sort of remember and rewatch. It's the movie magic, aren't they?
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I know Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale have both said, so that's the director and creator of Back to the Future, that they would not do another one while they're still alive. Obviously, they
Right.
had the computer game, which kind of was a fourth movie, but not so much. If you probably not played that, a kind of
No.
telltale story where you point and click on stuff, and it's about I think the 1960s or so with Bob with Doc being killed again and Marty going back to kind of help him out. So, but yeah, they've said they don't want to do another one, which fair enough, as you say. I think it's you don't need to reboot everything and that and leave it as it is.
No. They did do a cartoon series as well, didn't they? Which I know that was sort of aimed at a younger age group. I've never seen that. I was planning on picking it up, but I think you can only get it on Blu-ray in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, and the US. I've got it on DVD. Is that something you've seen? The
Yeah,
cartoon
so I
version?
have seen it. So the animated TV series which came after Free is more focused on the two boys of Emmett Brown and that. So Marty's kind of a side character now, and it's all them going on like hijinks, and obviously then you have Einstein as a bit of an animated character as well now, compared to kind of just a doggy companion and stuff.
Okay,
So yeah, so Jules and Verne, them two basically taking spearheading that over I think 26 episodes, two series.
right.
I saw it when it came out. Don't own it because, like you say, it's a bit hard to get hold of, and obviously not in UK and stuff. So
No. So I think Germany there is a Blu-ray, but it's not cheap to pick up. But yeah,
yeah,
it
that's
does
it.
look it does look like it's aimed at a younger age group as
Yeah,
well. I don't know. I mean, I've not seen it, but I'm guessing.
very much
What?
so. Very much kids like that kind of kiddie 90s animated style, but yeah, for very young kids because there's not a lot of violence or something. It's all just time traveling and stuff goes wrong,
Yeah.
mishaps. So okay,
Oh,
well, we'll
yeah. I
cross that.
mean, yeah. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, so with that was easy to get through that part of the animated series quite quickly.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I've not seen it, but I was aware of it. It was only a few years ago that I became aware of it, though. I didn't. I, when did it run? Was it sort of the 90s or?
Yeah, so it was 91 to 93. So
Okay.
just after, so the third film came out in 1990. So just followed on from the success of the franchise, and yeah, I don't think it. I mean, it's a bit hard. I think it probably after everyone had seen the film, they wanted to watch a series, and that's why the first series of 13 episodes did well. And I think by the second one, when Marty's only a side character and something, I think it just kind of fell flat a
Fizzled
little.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, which does happen. Which, as you say, when you when you've got this kind of brilliant design and everything works together and something like that. When you start going away from that, it doesn't work. So that's which happens on reboots quite a lot, unfortunately.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I would say obviously the first film is always, I think with any film franchise, the first one is always particularly special, I think, in everyone's mind, because it's the one that started it all off. But yeah, certainly I do like part 2.
Okay.
Really do like the second part. Third part is good. I think the ending kind of, I suppose, I don't know, didn't quite work for me. On rewatches, it's okay, but at the time, I remember sort of feeling the ending to the third one kind of just wasn't quite as good as the previous 2.
Okay. Well, I'll say I quite liked 1, 2, and 3. I think for me, it was we got the kind of penultimate ending to Marty, because obviously from the very beginning you hear that he has this incident and we never really get to see it until the very end, and obviously then we know he's on the right track with Jennifer as the car in reverse, and I think it's Flea, isn't it, from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who's driving the other car and almost then has a collision. So
yeah, it's been a while actually since I've seen the third one, but it's definitely, it was nice that they sort of put it right back in the past. So you were getting sort of callbacks to sort of older westerns and this sort of thing, which I thought was quite clever. Obviously, him being called Clint Eastwood was quite fun, you know.
It's kind of going on the whole Calvin Klein thing, and I think if you notice, and I want to say it's in 1, but it could be in 2. There is a scene of Clint Eastwood, obviously, on TV, and he's got the pan underneath his poncho, which obviously I like the fact that was on I think it was on 1. I want to say it was on 1. They're watching it on TV, and it's like, and then obviously they had that idea for the Wild West, and it's how they link up everything was very clever.
Quite subtle, subtle inclusion, and then I hadn't thought about that, to be honest, but. Yeah,
no,
right.
Well, I've watched it recently, and today I went through like little behind the scenes of 1 to 3, so I learned a few more little tidbits, and that was very interesting. Because I mean, silly stuff like in 2 when they go to the future and their parents' house or Marty's house, and he's got his kids and everything. Because the way they filmed that, they couldn't have anyone touch anything, so they glued everything to the set and then cordoned it all off. So when they filmed it and kept coming back, they didn't have anybody interfere it, because obviously with the track going over it for Marty's dad, who was upside down and something like that, they didn't want anything, and they did all this, cordoned it off. And then Robert Zemeckis says that night they had an earthquake, and luckily everything like was more or less in place. So when they filmed the scenes the next day, nothing was disturbed, and that was the whole point of them. So when you see them in the house, you'll see they don't really interact with a lot of objects because they're all glued in place.
Okay. I hadn't noticed that. That's a nice bit of trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You've done more research than I have.
No. I say it's all. Like I say, it's my favorite franchise. So I knew bits anyway and stuff. So bits I know I'll go into. But I say when I was watching it, the whole concept of how it evolved. So obviously you probably know, like, it wasn't going to be a DeLorean first off. There was a lot of ideas that they went through, and at one point, or there is someone who's quoted as saying it was going to be a fridge, which is a bit of a strange one. I mean, it was I think they spent like 9 months redoing the script anyway, so it probably changed. But I think there was a concern that if you made a time machine out of a fridge, people would start getting in their own fridges, and then there's a health and safety issue there.
I think they definitely, I mean, you know, going for that sort of, well, the DeLorean, I mean, it wasn't really a sort of supercar like Ferrari or Lamborghini back in the sort of 80s. I mean, I can remember sort of playing the Top Trumps cars, and you had the Ferrari, and you were always comparing the top speed of cars and all this. But DeLoreans were never really sort of mentioned in the supercars. It was almost like the sort of forgotten sort of car
Yeah.
that was always in the background, sort of thing. But I think those gull wing doors were the sort of iconic. Yeah, is that the Playmobil one?
No, so this is the actual Lego.
Oh,
one.
okay. 'Cause I've got the Playmobil over there actually.
Okay.
Go and grab that in a sec. But yeah, those gull wing doors definitely. I can remember sort of back in the 1980s. Again, my first experience of seeing the film, unfortunately, wasn't at the cinema. Not that I can remember. I think it was VHS. That was my first experience of seeing Back to the Future.
I would say I am the same. It was home entertainment. I've seen Back to the Future at my local cinema, and I saw Back to the Future 2 in 2015. I think it's October the 4th. So when he travels to the future,
Okay.
Not my local cinema, but the one in town was showing it the exact same day that he goes to the future. So I thought that was quite cool to watch Back to the Future 2 on the day it's meant to be.
Was it at 7:28 in the morning?
No, it wasn't in the morning. It was an evening showing, but yeah, it was quite a novelty thing. But yeah, I was quite glad to do that. It was quite a nice thing to tick off.
Oh, cool.
Sit at the cinema and sit at the cinema the day that technically it was meant to be in the movie. So
yeah. No, unfortunately, I never ever got to see it on the big screen. Yeah, it would be nice actually to revisit it, because I mean, I've got a 84-inch, so I suppose that's the biggest I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to see it or even in IMAX would be great, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of if there's an anniversary soon. I'm sure there. So what was it?
This one was the 35th anniversary. When did this come out? I think this was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because 85 is when one came out. So technically next year would be 40 years. So
40 years. Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
This is 5 years old then. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I've got the 25th anniversary edition there.
Okay.
That's the box set, which was the limited edition. This is probably, well, no, I don't think it was the first way I saw it, because I think my dad used to hire VHS back in the day, and I think we saw it on a VHS rental. But yeah, this came out, I don't know, probably in the 90s. It was. Do you ever remember CIC Video?
No, might have been a bit too young then.
They were the big distributors of VHS. Just trying to see. 1990, this came out.
Okay.
This set. So yeah, this would have been.
Yeah, literally, the third one had been out at the cinema, and then probably home entertainment then.
Yeah. Yeah, because when was the third one? I think it was the third
1990.
One.
So,
okay, 1990, yeah. So yeah, this must have been shortly after it then, because it came with a bonus tape, which was like the secrets of Back to the Future, which again, back when they did VHS, you didn't really get special features. It was just the film. But these sets, you would sometimes get this bonus documentary, which will have been ported over to the DVD, the Blu-ray, and now the 4K sets. So yeah, this would have probably been sort of to promote the third film. If you notice, those shots are all for the third film.
Okay.
You've got Marty at the top there with the sort of the cowboy outfit. You've got the bit on the train track there, and then down there as well. So yeah, this would have heavily been to promote the third film. which is what they still do now, really, isn't it? With the special features, a lot of them are featurettes.
Yeah.
It's not until years later you get retrospectives and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they all make up the picture. All the spines make up the picture of the DeLorean. So I always like that. So yeah, I didn't ever pick up the DVD set. I just went straight from VHS to Blu-ray. Have you got the DVD set?
Yeah, so I had the DVD. Well, I have them. It's going to be sold, but obviously AJ gifted me the Blu-ray set, which
Okay, right.
I know for a fan just having it on DVD. But yeah, so I've kind of upgraded that. Whether I go to steel, I have liked the look of the steel books, but I've not invested because they're quite expensive. So
The 4K.
Yeah,
Because there was the Blu-rays as well, I think, that came out with the poster art.
Mm.
But yeah, the Blu-rays that you get in this set, well, the 4Ks, the steelbooks, they make up the image of the DeLorean with
But in the
Marty.
different time periods, isn't it? So the first one's
it's a nice idea, and I think it works as part of that set. But I wouldn't buy them individually like that. I would want to have the poster art on them.
Yeah.
Which you do probably get on the, well, you certainly get them on these VHS. But like you get the first one. See that one?
Yeah.
And you get the second one.
Yeah, Marty and Doc. Yeah.
And then the final one. But I think those images are available on Blu-ray steelbooks, but yeah, I think they still command a pretty penny.
Yeah. No, from what I've seen,
got those.
Yeah. When I've looked, they've been quite expensive, and it's just for one. I'm like, it's you're looking 3 figures for all 3 of them. So
yeah. I mean, there is a nice set as well that Film Arena brought out, which, again, it's the steelbooks that are in that set, but the covers, the lenticular, and they are of the original poster art.
Okay.
So but it's very expensive. I've looked at it and thought, ooh, I do like that, but the price tag is just too much. I was lucky to get that one for a reasonable price, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that is a cool set with the old dates on it.
Yeah, and again, I think Film Arena in that set I was just saying about, they have there's like a replica of that, I think, which actually lights up, or it's got lenticulars, so the times change. I thought that's quite cool, but it would be really nice to have one that's sort of like almost like an alarm clock. I don't know. I think they might do something like that.
Okay.
But, where you can sort of set the times and,
Oh yeah, that would be quite cool. Yeah.
Quite clever, isn't it?
Or maybe have that on the spine of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Timestamp for each film. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Copyright it quick.
Or you could get somebody to do a custom split for you with those spines on. There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And I know you know people, so. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
He's back. Don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Oh well, we've swapped around on our sides.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so I suppose shall we go back to the first movie then?
Yeah. Sorry, went off on a tangent.
No, it's all right. It's all good. It gets it in. It mixes it up for a change. So yeah, I mean, I say watching the documentary and learning about one. I think consistency-wise, as the movies have gone, as we said, there's little nods to different stuff throughout the movie. And when obviously you learn from when they were writing it, that's how they did it with cue cards. So it was like Marty's going to invent rock and roll. So it's like, okay, if we're going to have this in the movie, we need to show that he likes rock and roll. So ergo, he plays the guitar at the very beginning, we see, and then obviously has the Battle of the Bands. So I like the fact that they were actually actively thinking about all these things and how to work them in.
Yeah.
And obviously it was, and I think, lightning in a bottle sometimes, because obviously they weren't going to have Michael J. Fox. They wanted him, and obviously didn't. And they had Eric Stoltz for 5 weeks. So
yes. Yeah, and I've seen that test footage of Eric Stoltz in the role. I thought he was quite good, actually. I think he would have been a good Marty if Michael J. Fox hadn't been able to do it. But was it something to do with Family Ties? Because I know he was in that contract, wasn't he, for a long time, like long-standing TV show.
Yes. So it was very early on in Family Ties when obviously, I think Family Ties had just been picked up and he was quite a big thing. And when they were auditioning for Back to the Future, he was doing Teen Wolf. So it's funny. So when they went round and were auditioning on people, there was one down the road from Teen Wolf, but obviously because he was doing Teen Wolf, he'd already spoken to the studio who did Family Ties, and they said, "Look, we can't let you out of this because obviously Family Ties has picked up. You're a crucial part of it because he's the main, kind of the main character as Alex P. Keaton." So they had to go. I mean, they begged, and obviously the studio were like, no. And then obviously they went with Eric Stoltz. Like you, I've seen the footage. He is supposedly in certain scenes that are still bits of him in Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
So in one, there's I think maybe in near the parking lot and in the cafe scenes. If you watch it, there's certain angles at the back of like Marty's head where you look and you think that's not Marty's hairstyle, and supposedly it's supposed to be Eric Stoltz, but I don't know if that's just hearsay and people just fabricating that. But yeah, it was very interesting because obviously everyone got on well. Obviously Crispin Glover came along, and Leah Thompson and all that, and they were all doing it. And after 5 weeks, they shot everything in those 5 weeks, put it all together, sat down with Spielberg, and Robert Zemeckis went, it's just not working. There's not the comedy aspect like he wanted it, and that's why they let go of Stoltz, which you can kind of see it. I mean, it's a director's perspective on it and his idea, so he wants to take it with him, because it's funny that it was a little while for them shopping around the whole idea of Back to the Future, and because they were unknown, and I think it was Robert Zemeckis, Bob Gale, and Steven Spielberg. They did 3 films together, and they weren't very good or weren't received very well. So when they had the idea of Back to the Future, no one picked it up. No one wanted to take it. They took it to Disney, and the whole pitch was it's a son that goes back in time and dates his mum. And when they presented it to Disney, they were like, "That's incest. We can't do that film," which is quite funny. And then Robert Zemeckis, obviously, he wanted to direct something. He goes, "Why we're trying to do this?" And he got Romance in the Stone, which obviously Michael Douglas, and that was a hit. And as soon as that was a hit, then obviously they were like, "Yeah, we'll pick up Back to the Future." So he goes, "It wasn't the story; it was just the fact because they weren't well known that no one wanted to kind of invest in them." And obviously because they approached the studio, they didn't want to do it with Spielberg because they thought if the studio saw the 3 of them together, they would assume that like they do work well together, but it's not a hit. So they didn't work with Spielberg at first, and then when it got picked up after Romance in the Stone, they brought Spielberg on.
I mean, you can understand it, back then. I mean, Spielberg had a couple of hits, obviously Jaws, Close Encounters. But he was still very much in his early career, wasn't he, back then? And like you say, if you're investing, I don't know how much the budget was for the first film, but I'm still guessing it was millions. You want to make sure, it's going to be a hit, because certainly back then, it was expensive to make. Well, it still is expensive to make films, but there wasn't the all the marketing and all that kind of stuff there is now with so much of these, and advertising and all the rest of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't look into budget. I don't remember them saying it. They did say that kind of they got Back to the Future, but they had to make it within a certain time frame. That was the stipulation. The studio go, if you don't have it done by this date, we just don't make the movie. So, well, I mean, when they say like they didn't want to get rid of Eric Stoltz at first, but after 5 weeks, he said no, and the studio let them reshoot those 5 weeks again. And yeah, and conveniently, they pleaded with the studio for Michael J. Fox, and then the guy who ran the studio said, "I'll pitch it to him, but he has to do it outside of Family Ties." So he was working 10 till 5 on Family Ties. Then he was driven to the allotment where Back to the Future was filmed at 6, and he would work there till about 3 or 4 in the morning, go home to bed, picked up to start again. So I mean, it seems quite long hours, but I imagine if you're an actor or an actor, I'm not dissing them, but I mean, if you're working 10 till 5, you're not on set constantly working. It's like, let's set this scene up. This person's doing this. Yeah. I imagine he did have time to rest, and it's not like he finished one job and went and did like construction for like 10 hours and then did it. So I think, but I imagine it, literally having like probably 4 or 5 hours gap between the job, sleep, and then going back to your other job and having to remember all the lines or something was probably really hard. Every night for God knows how many months it was to do Back to the Future, but yeah, it works.
And I guess, I mean, again, I had watched Family Ties. I can't remember a lot about it, but it definitely had a comical sort of vibe to it. And obviously he brought that to the role with Marty, because there is that little bit of, I mean, it's not constant comedy, but there are the sort of light-hearted moments in it, aren't there, with the quips and sort of, that kind of thing, which obviously is what Zemeckis wanted from Michael J. Fox, and obviously maybe he didn't really get that from Stoltz. But I think they kind of had the same kind of look, didn't they?
Very much so.
Similar sort of look to them. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen enough of the footage to sort of really gauge what Stoltz's performance would have been. But I guess there must be enough footage if they did 5 weeks of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've not seen any more. I've only seen the clips that they've ever shown on talking to studios about him. And I mean, he went on to do other stuff, but not massively. So, yeah.
No, he's always been more of a B star, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Had a few things he's been in, but obviously, I mean, I guess Michael J. Fox, this was the film that propelled him to stardom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, like you say, if he's doing Teen Wolf, I'm sure with Back to the Future. Did Teen Wolf come out before Back to the Future, or was it about
it did come. I think it did come out, or they might. I was trying to say some of his films had a bit of a crisscross of when they were produced to obviously add the special effects and stuff like that. So depending. So actually, maybe let me IMDb it.
Yeah.
That's how because I know that so with the special effects, it could be the fact that it took longer, whereas Back to the Future may have been a little bit easier.
I mean, it's pretty much if you said somebody who wasn't like probably as knowledgeable as us with films and stuff, or Michael J. Fox, what was he in? And they'd probably say, well, Back to the Future. Whereas obviously, I mean, he was in a lot of other films as well. The Frighteners, obviously the Teen Wolf.
He's done like Casualties of War, The Hard Way. I think he got special edition stuff.
Yeah.
Like he did comedies like Mike. One where he is wants to start his own hotel, and I can't remember what that's called now.
There's one, The Secret to My Success.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, that was I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed quite a lot of them. So so it says Back to the Future came out first, then Teen Wolf.
Okay.
So the fact that he filmed Teen Wolf before he even auditioned for Back to the Future shows how long stuff takes to
post-production. But hopefully, with the success of Back to the Future, that actually probably brought more people to watch Teen Wolf because
Yeah,
of his success with that. So
different.
if it had been the other way round, I mean, I didn't mind Teen Wolf, but I don't think it was as strong a performance as Back to
No,
the Future. That's the one that's really cemented him in,
of
the
course it does.
stardom.
I mean, he's done like what the Jimmy Kimmel show on it, and he's been in loads of programs and films where he kind of is playing the, they have like the Great Scott or something like Christopher Lloyd and stuff. The
Yeah.
two of them have done really well for like almost 40 years now.
And you still see, I think even now, like on Instagram, you still see pictures. I mean, obviously, he's conditioned now, bless him, he's not as sort of on his feet as much as he was. He deals with what he can, but you still see photographs with sort of previous cast members, where they've got together for whatever, promotional things or whatever. So he's still very much, I think, in contact with the cast that he worked with. That's nice that they've all remained friends.
Yeah. No, that is good. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, I say like, Back to the Future. I mean, when they ended it, how they then had to move on with the second one because, from my understanding, so when they wrote two was actually 2 and 3 together, and that's how it became one. And then there was something
back to back, didn't they?
Yeah, they were shot back to back, but there was a reason why they were shot back to back, and I cannot remember the reason for it now. I only watched a video a few hours ago, so I should know. But yeah, there was another film or another production that they saw that was shot back to back, and they really thought that would work. Plus, with time travel, they thought it's better at consistency.
Yeah.
So it was 11 months from doing both films. So it's quite a long time of your life. And I say Michael J. Fox even says like, he got married in that time. He had his first child. His dad passed away. So for him, there was so many things going on, but he still
life events. Yeah,
yeah. But he says he still has the fond memories of Back to the Future to kind of keep him going. So,
and pretty much all 3 films literally roll on straight from the next scene, don't they?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you go from 2 to 3, obviously the beginning of 1 to 2, you have obviously they had to reshoot because obviously Claudia Wells didn't return as Jennifer, so her mum was ill, unfortunately, so she left the movie.
Okay. I was going to ask you, I wonder why she didn't reprise the role.
So I thought it was pregnancy, but it wasn't. Supposedly it was down to her mum being ill. But it's really. I find it strange because if you know where the Jennifer role goes, so Jennifer obviously has a bit of a bigger role in 2 than she does in 1. Not much. She turns up at the house and something, but most of the time she's knocked unconscious in the beginning and put in some hay bale type straw thing, goes home, knocked unconscious again, and then she's woken up at the end of 3. So it's not a big role.
No.
And then them to cast Elizabeth Shue, who had just come off Karate Kid 1. I'm like, I felt that's a bit strange for her to have gone, well, I've just had this really successful first movie, but then there's Back to the Future role has opened up. I'll take that, even though it's not a big role.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe she thought, with Spielberg, Zemeckis behind it, and they'd obviously had the success. It could be a kind of good opportunity for her to launch her career, a bit like Michael J. Fox. I mean, obviously, with a smaller role, I suppose. Yeah, but could be a number of reasons, couldn't it? Scheduling. I don't know.
No.
But no, it's pretty much. Yeah. Obviously, at the end, he flies off, doesn't he? And then he comes back. And then they're off again, sort of thing. You've got to come to the future with me now. So, and then obviously the second film. But what I like about the second film is obviously again they incorporate a lot of what we saw in the first film, from a different perspective. So I thought that, you know, I think in some ways the second film is probably my favourite of the three, actually,
Okay.
because of that added dimension of seeing what happened in the first film, and then kind of, you know, him going back and seeing the events of what happened in the first film. Then obviously then what led on to the third film.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I mean, no, keep going. Sorry.
no. As I say, yeah, for me, I think actually the second one is the cleverer of the three films.
Yeah, no, I
Cleverest.
mean, yeah. I mean, I really like two as well. I think the hover car and something and how they went Mr. Fusion and all these improvements. I would say rewatching it, and maybe because it's only the Blu-ray that I rewatched, there are scenes from two where they had to have obviously him on stage and him behind the stage. And when you watch it now, it actually is quite bad of how it's cut. But
Oh,
then
right.
when you go to three, which obviously has only been filmed back to back, and when he's different characters and his interactions, it flows a lot more better. And I don't know if it's the scenery and being in the wide open spaces is easier to
Yeah.
bend over than being. But yeah, there's a scene where um, Biff's punks are trying to get him, and they go up on stage, and they're like, because he's playing the guitar, and he's like, they've got to get him, and he has to climb up and then climb over, and it looks not the greatest. Nothing away
Yeah.
from the movie because obviously it's a movie of its time. But and yeah, and as you say, it is quite good how they interlocked everything and go back over stuff, and it's very interesting. Because I mean, obviously, we lost Claudia Wells for two, so Jennifer, but then obviously we lost Crispin Glover as well, as people may or may not know. So obviously, he was very outspoken after about the ending of one. So I will go with what I know, and I will say what's kind of so he's gone on record to say he didn't like the way the movie was going to end on one, and I see his point, and basically it was he enjoyed the story, but the fact he saw one as that Marty and his family had financial gain at the end of it, that was the response. So it was like you go back and correct something or a misjustice that you want to sort out and you get rich. That was how his eyes, which if you look at it, it does. He's come back, his dad and his mum are successful. Everybody
Yeah.
dressed more proper. Marty's got his big 4x4 truck sitting in the garage. So I see that point of it, but until I heard him complain about it a few years ago on a podcast or something, I never
Okay.
really thought of that as it.
Right.
It was, it was more, as I say, from the very end of the third film, it's this injustice that obviously he has a temper on him when people call him chicken, and kind of the movies evolved that kind of mindset because of say he's very careless in the first one. In the second one, he's trying to sort out his family, and by the third one, he's kind of the Doc character because Doc's doing stupid stuff because he's in love, and Marty's the one trying to ground him. So
Yeah.
I understand his point, but obviously the official one of what the documentaries say is that he wanted too much money. So when they were approached him for two, everybody went, "Yeah, I'll do it." Crispin Glover, he was like, "Well, I'm an actor down here, but I want this amount of pay." And they were like, it's not really for you to say. You're asking too much. Think about it. And then 2 weeks later, yeah, he didn't accept it and said, "I'm not returning." So officially, that's why when he so in the beginning of the movie, they put someone else in his image, and he's upside down. The rumor is that the reason why they put him upside down is to kind of torture. They had that planned to torture him because he was such a pain acting on the first movie.
Okay.
No, but that's right or wrong. What the productions say is because they had to have someone else stand in for him with prosthetics, that if they had him upside down, you wouldn't notice if it wasn't him or not,
Right.
which is a valid question. And but obviously, after all of this is part of the reason, and it comes up with later, like the AI discussion of background actors, because they used his image without his asking. He sued them, and they settled out of court, and that's why you have to get people's permission to use their likeness now in Hollywood. If you didn't know that,
no, I didn't know that.
no. So that's it's a big hoo ha of having him in it and stuff like that, and yeah.
I didn't realise that he hadn't returned for the second film because
No.
obviously he's in it, but
it sounds like him, yet someone else. So, and it was the whole point of when they had wrote 2 and 3 and they approached everybody. It's when he said he wouldn't return, even though they have him upside down for that family scene.
Yeah.
When they travel to Biff's future, so when Biff has the sports almanac.
Yeah,
that's why they put
Trump.
the gravestone of George, and that's why he's seen in the cemetery is dead, because obviously they couldn't use him. So
it always makes me laugh, because if you look at that, when Biff as what he is in the future, he's definitely taken from Donald Trump. There,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously back when Trump was,
a businessman, wasn't it?
Businessman, and all the rest of it before his presidential political career.
You back again? You keep dropping in and out for a split second there. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you dropped out. I don't know.
Oh, that's all right.
Or is it you? I don't know, but
probably.
I don't know. So I'm learning stuff from this chat, and I didn't realise that he didn't return.
No, a lot of people did. I mean, they did well for putting him in it. You wouldn't. I mean, I didn't realise until years later that it wasn't him, and I think that's one thing I always like about a thing in movies: practical effects over CG. I mean, I know CG can work well, but I mean, they interviewed like actors and actresses who are 16 to 25 to put the makeup on to make them older, and I think it works so well.
Yeah,
in those movies that you don't. I mean, granted, with the Marvel movies, we've had some de-aging and stuff, haven't we? And I mean, Alien Romulus is probably another prime example with Brooke. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, it can be done, but I think practical effects look a lot better in my eyes.
I mean, I don't know whether with that one, because I know Disney have employed, well, certainly for the Book of Boba Fett, they employed a deep faker to do the Luke Skywalker stuff. Because in Mandalorian, you could tell it was CG.
Yeah.
But the Book of Boba Fett is just so lifelike. As I say, they got a deep faker, on YouTube and that. So whether they're doing that a lot more now, because that looks far more realistic than the CG. I mean, CG is coming on a long way, facial stuff, but it's still, I'm not a gamer, but I know a lot of the games now are the cutscenes. They're far more lifelike, aren't they? The computer characters.
Oh yeah, of course, very much so.
But like you say, if he was, a bit disgruntled, there's no way he would have said, "Yeah, you can use my image." Although in hindsight now, he might actually think, "Oh, I could have actually made a lot more money out of this," if he'd have been in the second film.
Yeah, I mean, he's done other stuff. I mean, I didn't even realise it was him in Charlie's Angels. So if you've seen the Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, he's the bad guy.
Many years. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you watch it now, you'll be like, "Oh my god, that's." I mean, and I'll probably get to that character is very iconic. As much as I love Marty McFly and Doc, and we all know him, there's another thing that me and Matt have both experienced that I wasn't sold in it until I saw the Crispin Glover George McFly character, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Okay.
Build the suspense for the audience.
Oh, cool.
So but no. Well, I suppose going back to 2. I mean, because the sci-fi elements, I think, is why I gravitate more towards that one. But yeah, obviously going back over other stuff, and then I think it's even the fact of Doc where he sends Marty back and he's dancing in the street, and then Marty comes running out at the very end, and he's like, "I'm back from the future," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's the thing, like with the mayor, you know, obviously
Goldie.
in the first film, he's given the idea to be mayor, and then obviously in the future one, he is the mayor, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff as well, like little things which kind of have predicted the future a little bit. With like you see, like the petrol prices.
Yeah.
So like there's a petrol station in there, like the price of fuel is like rocketed compared to what it was in the first film. And then there's also the I think is it Jaws 19 or something where the big hologram comes out. And you know, like the 3D films and things, but obviously, you know, we had a period of 3D films that seems to have died down now. But yeah, that was sort of almost like predicting sort of what was going to happen in the future. And I think there's a few other little things that are sort of links that people have said, oh, you know, that happened in it and that's come true, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's like
the laces, the trainers. Nike have developed those now, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, they've even made the real shoes. I mean, I think when Marty in the future is talking to his boss over the TV and all this stuff, obviously Teams as a prime example, where you talk to each other from your home, you know, not even using your phone, using your TV. So there's bits like that.
Yeah. Still like the double ties though.
No. I mean, I like the jacket that like self-adjusts and dries and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think there might be a bit of VR in it as well. I think one of the brothers or something has got a VR headset or something on, or is it the younger version of Marty's?
His son.
In the second one, obviously, when he becomes the father, it's the son who's a bit wacky and that.
Yeah.
I think he wears some sort of VR thing or something.
Well, I thought it, and also, do you notice that obviously his son and his daughter are both played by him, which I find very freaky, a little bit.
Daughter, isn't she?
The daughter in 2. So in the future, when when the wife goes in and then you hear like the woman come out and go, "Mum, is that you?" And she's got like a bobbed haircut.
Yeah.
That is Michael J. Fox.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was like, watch it, or even bring it up on YouTube or something. Watch it, and you'd be like, Jesus Christ! Like little bits like that. Like it's scary how well they worked all these little bits in. And
I knew obviously the son was, but I didn't realise the daughter was him as well.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and check that out. Yeah.
You'll be learning so much more now. I'll be getting messages left, right, and saying, "I've just seen this bit that you."
Yeah. That's cool.
Learning stuff. I mean, they reuse loads of people, as you say, like with the mayor and stuff like that, and it's very clever. Of like, I even think in 2 where you've got his car repairer, so the bloke who fixes his car, he's then the same actor is used as the old guy who then is talking to Marty McFly about him with like the hat and the big curly hair. It's the same guy in the future. So I like the fact they reused actors and actresses and different roles and stuff like this. It's very clever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, cool.
But yeah. I say Biff. I think he like if you see behind the scenes, he's such a gentle giant, but he plays that character so well with just like some of the lines that they wrote for him and stuff like that. And even when he's old, and then like his younger self, the younger version of hoverboarding over the lake.
Yeah.
And they jump over the car and he's like, something's very familiar about this.
Yeah. But he's very different in the third one, I thought. You know, Biff Tanner. Was
Yeah,
it?
Biff Tannen. Yeah, and Griff is the one from 2. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Biff Tanner. Yeah, he plays him very differently in that, which I liked actually because there were similarities with the older Griff. Um, Obviously, he had the makeup and all that, but there were little bits that he took from the younger version of himself. But I felt that Tanner was completely different.
Hmm.
Almost, you might not necessarily know they were related.
No, I can get that. I mean, yeah, visually they both look alike, but yeah, it's very clever what they did with all the makeup and stuff. And yeah, I see what you mean. He was had the stupidity a little bit, but even it was yeah, I don't know. I really liked him, and
Yeah, no, he's good. He's a very good character.
hmm.
Uh,
I say quite, but probably because it's the last one in the trilogy, it sticks more. I mean, I say when I rewatched it, I actually far liked 3 a lot more. I pick a lot more stuff up, and that is very. I know with like Clayton Ravine, something like that, and little bits that they've changed, but they haven't changed.
uh,
Again, I think it's called Clint Eastwood Ravine at the end because Clint Eastwood went in it. And as you were saying, yeah, it's a good name. Like him doing a little moonwalk and then hits him with the spittoon when he does the little stance.
yeah, no, it is cool. It's just that I think it was just the ending that with the train. Obviously,
What with
they
the
did it
car?
with the DeLorean. I thought it was great with the DeLorean. I just thought the train was a little bit of a step too far. I don't know. Now I've seen it many times, sort of in the future. It's not bothered me as much, but I just remember at the time thinking, "Oh, I wish they hadn't done that with the train." But I think that was quite a tough shot to film as well. And I think they had to do that. Again, sort of CG back then was a lot. Well, probably had to use more models and things, stop motion stuff maybe. But I mean, it still looks really, really good for the time that it was made.
Yeah, no. I say it is really good. I mean, the whole train scene, I think, is very clever. Obviously, back in the day of how we need to get up to 88 miles an hour because obviously there's always something that goes wrong. And obviously, you think with the Mr. Fusion added in that they could just put rubbish into it, but obviously it loses fuel, which obviously isn't around. And I even think, something. The simple thing is like when Clara gets on the train, because it is a train. It's the one thing she gets Doc's attention by pulling the whistle. That
Yeah,
like if that had been anything else, you probably would have been like, he definitely can't hear her. But he knows as soon as that whistle's pulled that someone's there, and it's just little bits, little nods like that. I thought were very clever.
yeah, and they did. I guess in the third film as well, it's very much more Doc's film, isn't it? Because it's more about his finding love.
Yeah,
And whilst Marty's still kind of, yeah, still in it doesn't feel quite as centered on Marty. Whereas obviously the first 2 were very much his story and him trying to sort of fix, well, certainly in the second film, fix stuff that sort of happened in the first one. But yeah, that third film very much more of a Doc story, I felt, with
yeah, no,
Marty there.
yeah. I mean, that's what they've said. Like the whole roles of Marty and Doc were switched, and it is kind of say that Doc's the one that's in love and kind of doing stupid things, and he wants to stay, and he's not fussed about anything. And then yeah, it's like Marty's the calm, cool set, and I think that's the whole point of it. Like that, even though Doc kind of has this frivolous period in the whole trilogy, that Marty has matured, and it leads him to that final decision and puts him on the right track. And it's not about riches; it's just about him having these life experiences that have just realizing that I don't need to react every time somebody calls me chicken.
Yeah.
As it almost gets him shot, car accident, and a few other things throughout it. He's
yeah.
well, I think shot several times, ain't it? I think Griff and Biff Tannen, he gets almost shot in 2, almost shot in 3.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, and then Strickland almost shoots him as well in 2 as well.
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
think
he's crazy, isn't he? Strickland. He's
yeah,
certainly in the
stealing his
second
newspaper.
film. In the future, he's kind of like he's gone from being the sort of headmaster, well respected, and all the rest of it. It's almost like this vigilante in the
Yeah,
in the future. You know, get off my property.
yeah, it is probably like that. Yeah, and then he's like the sheriff in Free, which is hardly
Oh
anything.
yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So for that, I mean, I didn't realise that until I recently watched it. Well, oh yeah, he's a sheriff in it. I was like, oh, that's a little
Yeah,
nod.
I do remember. Yeah, now you said that. Oh, yeah, I do because he's got a moustache, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, yeah, he's. I mean, he was. I say he was one of those actors again. He appeared in a lot of films in the 80s and 90s, but he wasn't. I don't actually know the actor's name, if I'm honest. But you know his face. You'll always have seen him. I mean, he was in Top Gun and
Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was in that as well, wasn't he? He's one of those actors that you just, as soon as you see his face, you think, oh, I've seen him in loads of things. But yeah, I couldn't tell you what his name was.
James Tolkien. I've got it
Oh,
written
James.
down. Got it written down here. I knew it was going to come up.
That's strange because the name rings a bell,
Yeah,
but I just don't put the name to his face.
nice. No, no.
But then I know his face. As soon as you see his face, you think, oh yeah, I've seen him in loads of things. Oh, James Tolkien. Yeah.
So yeah, but I do like obviously, especially because I have this from. If I can't get
Oh,
the
okay,
name,
yeah, Doc Brown, yeah.
yeah. So it's nice to have actually been able to meet him and have a picture in front of the clock tower.
Where was that? Was that at Comic Con?
Yeah, so that was well, you can't it says Showmasters there, but it was at London Comic Con about 7 or 8 years ago.
Right.
So I mean I'm not really big on signatures and stuff like that, but I would really like to have met him and Michael J. Fox, and he was down to do it first. So I paid to have the picture. And then literally like one day it was like, oh, Michael J. Fox is there. All the like small tickets were sold out, and the only way to see him was to pay 450 quid for the day experience.
Wow.
And at the time, 450 quid is still a lot of money, but I had him or had a signature or sign in with him to go to and another actor. And it's like I forfeit those to go to the Michael J. Fox one. And I was like, I'll get to see him again. And he's never been back so far. So
Yeah. I
one
suppose
day,
now with his health, he's probably quite limited on what he can and can't do now.
yeah, I mean, he does American ones. I think the past few years he's been to the odd one in America. So I'm hoping with the 40th anniversary next year that they do something and maybe come over to the UK for an event. And yeah, whatever it is, I'm paying it to see him because I don't, as you say, with health and that, I don't think you get too many opportunities to.
No. I mean, I went to the Comic Con. What was it, about 2 years ago with AJ, and they had the DeLorean there, which you could have photographed. Doc Brown, I don't think he was, well, the actor. Don't think he was there on the day that we were there. I've got a feeling he might have been there. I think we went on the Saturday, and I think he was there on the Sunday, maybe. Can't quite remember, but no. Again, yeah, they can be quite expensive, these signatures, can't they? And photographs and things. But yeah, no, I mean that's a cool. It's nice that you've got that. But like you say, the icing on the cake would be to get one with Michael J. Fox, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course, obviously, because I've got my leg tattoo, I kind of would want to show him that and go, look, you are on my skin. I know it's a bit of a weird thing for him to say, but obviously, you know, being a big movie enthusiast and obviously it's being my favorite movie trilogy, like, it'd be nice to, you know, say, look, you know, I know your health and that, but, you know, you've been a big inspiration to me and stuff. So,
yeah, no, I think it's just it's such a unique trilogy as well. It just I don't feel like they've ever tried to replicate it and sort of reboot it. I just don't think it's needed.
No.
But the one thing I do like they have done, and again, I don't know whether you want to come on to this yet, but is obviously
No,
the musical.
that's fine. We've
Now,
moved on to that. So yeah.
this to me is probably the best way to kind of honour the original. I mean, I know you'd seen it before I had. I
Yeah.
got the opportunity to see it. Well, it'd be October last year, and my wife had been saying about going to see it before, and I kind of poo-pooed it, said, "Oh yeah, I'm not really that interested." But I have to say, going to it, it was absolutely fantastic. Probably, one of the best sort of musicals that I've been to. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think it was only on for a limited run at the time. But I think because it's so popular, it's become more of a sort of ongoing production now in the West End.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I saw it on my 40th birthday, so luckily my wife treated me as a surprise, and then obviously invited our friends to it. I mean, being such a big fan of it, and they say it's hard for anything to emulate it. And I must admit, when I sat down and it started, and the first one or two songs, I was like, and it's a bit like Marty's at Home. And it was until like George McFly, the actor who was doing George McFly, and I don't know if it was the same person who was doing it when you were doing it, but when they come out and started doing how their mannerisms were, and he just had nailed it to a T.
Yeah,
And then from then on, I just enjoyed it, and it just got better. And I mean, as you say, it's such a great show to see. And I don't want to give too much away, but obviously they have like a theatre and how they do the DeLorean and how it moves and stuff, and how they cleverly move stuff around to make it look like it was absolutely great.
yeah. I mean, it very much follows. I mean, not giving spoilers away, but very much follows the events of the first film, doesn't it? It's pretty much the first film.
Yeah.
They've obviously changed things, obviously to fit the musical side of things, but set designs were fantastic. I thought the way that they changed the environments, the school and Doc Brown's house, and it was done. And even Doc Brown, the guy who played him, I thought he played him really well. I mean, now those two on there, those two actors, I don't know whether I can bring it in.
Yeah, I think I can just about see him.
They weren't the guys that I saw. I think they were the original ones. So they may have been the two actors that you saw.
Yeah, they were.
But I have to say, the two that, I mean, obviously, I don't know what they were like, but the two guys that we saw were really good. I mean, they got, towards the end of it, I mean, the guy who's playing Marty, he was like getting the crowd going and clapping, and there's a real like buzz. Did that happen in your production? Sort of at the end?
That was.
I think they were collecting for sort of funds for obviously actors at the time, just come out of COVID.
Yeah.
And they were still sort of trying to get money together for sort of actors that had lost a lot of money through that period and that. And they were really, trying to sort of get the crowd going and do all this fundraising and all the rest of it. But
that's great.
Yeah,
it is.
It was really good.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to say, even if you're not a big fan of the films, I think you enjoy musicals.
Yep.
It's just such a good production. You don't necessarily have had to have seen the films to enjoy it. I mean, even my wife, I think she'd seen bits and pieces of the films, and I think before we went, I know my daughter hadn't seen all of them, and we watched all three. Even my wife said, not that she'd remembered a lot of the first film, but she was fully invested in it. She really, really enjoyed the whole experience. So, I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, really good. I can see why it's very popular. And I think it's still on even this year. I think it's still on the Adelphi Theatre. I can see here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you just want a great day out, it's a really good experience.
I would definitely second that.
So, have you ever been to Florida? Have you ever been to Universal Studios?
No, so the plan was to go for our anniversary, but unfortunately things didn't happen with COVID and everything. So one day me and my wife will go, but yeah, not currently had a chance to.
Because there is the Back to the Future. Well, I don't know whether it's still, I assume it is still there. I mean, it's many years since I've been, probably about 25 years now. But I did go on the Back to the Future ride. And again, you get into DeLorean. I mean, it's obviously all sort of set up with rigs, so it all moves like this, but it's all kind of screens and that, and you're flying around, and there's the different sort of incorporates all three films, so you sort of see the events of the first film, then you get the stuff in the future, and then it goes back to the Wild West as well.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's a really good ride. But I don't know whether I know a lot of the stuff changed. They're constantly changing things, but whether I'd imagine that one's still there. So
hopefully,
yeah, I'd highly recommend if you get an opportunity to go to Universal, either in Florida or I believe there's one in Los Angeles as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool.
One day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. You got any other thing you want to show off, or that bit of show and tell?
I mean, obviously within the sets, I mean, you do get. I mean, I can quickly show what you get in the sets there. You get the sort of the blueprint of the DeLorean, a bit like that. You get a little out of time number plate. Get the replica of the almanac. Oh yeah, you got a full size one there. I think there's one in that one as well, actually. Probably be easier to maybe get a few of the bits out. I think some of the stuff that you get in that set are replicated in this one.
Okay.
Quite nice that all the goodies sort of come in a mock-up VHS for this one. Yeah, you get the. I think this was a little gift from AJ. Yeah, the little pizza. I think he got. It's like a fridge magnet.
Oh yeah, like the microwave that you put it in and.
Yeah, I think in here as well. There was they gave me that as well, which is the Pizza Hut. So you get a continuity script excerpt.
Okay, that's cool.
That's like got all the sort of, bits and pieces about the film and that. There's that. Get a little magnet. And then this is the one that, is really cool, is the almanac.
Yeah.
I think you can pretty much get those most places, can't you?
Mine came with Blu-ray set, so that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, it was in AJ's one that he sent me, so whether it was meant to be in there or not, I don't.
Got a feeling, he may have had that tin. So he might maybe have got rid of the tin and just kept the bits.
Possibly.
Have you got that? Which is the the.
Oh, the photograph while it disappeared. No, I haven't.
Disappear. Okay. So yeah, I think that comes in that set as well.
Okay.
Cool. And then you get the, the USA Today.
Oh yeah.
You jailed. There you go. And then you get the other one where it says gang jailed. Biff, yeah. And you get another one which is like Here Lies
George
Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah, Clint. Oh, it's from Free Agent. Yeah.
And then it says Emmett Brown.
Yeah.
And then you get that photograph, which is the one, you know, from the third film.
Yeah.
And you get Emmett Brown commended.
Oh yeah, that's from one, isn't it? There.
Yeah. And then obviously you get the one before, which was Emmett Brown committed. And yeah, you get your the blueprint, which is on the front of the T-shirt I've got on. I think there's a bigger one in that other set.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff's replicated, and then you get like a timeline as well. Oh, and also you get that, which is the guitar pick.
Okay, yeah.
You get like a timeline. All different. Go that way. All different times, isn't it? Get the camera, but yeah, there's a lot of information on there about the film, timelines, and all the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you get the films as well. So, but it's all housed in a nice sort of VHS style box. I kind of, when I got this edition, I did think, oh, I'm doubling up on a lot of the things that I've got in that other set, but I just like you say, they're just such classic films, and I just thought, oh, yeah, I've got to get this. But yeah, well, I think you can still. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this one's still available to get on eBay, but I don't know how much it goes for. There is the flux capacitor set as well, which I think that would have been the 30th anniversary edition. I think AJ might have that one.
Okay.
One where it kind of lights up, and then inside you've got like more of a sort of digipack like you've got there.
Yeah.
But I didn't opt for that one. But yeah, really nice set. Like you say, I'm guessing they'll probably do something for the 40th anniversary. Do you think you may then, if it's a nice one, you'll pick up the 40th anniversary set for 4K?
Yeah, I mean, I do want to upgrade it because I say it is my favourite trilogy. I mean, glad to have the upgrade from AJ. I mean, I've had the DVD for ages. I don't know why I didn't upgrade it before, but obviously getting into steelbooks and stuff, I am on the lookout. So if I find the right price or I come into some money in that, I'm sure I can dabble and have a little box set.
Absolutely.
I've got a bit of space still.
And the other thing, which again I was very tempted at the time, but I never picked it up. But it's a company that sort of deals with sort of memorabilia.
Okay.
It's called I think it's called Dr. Collector. And again, it's similar to this. It looks a bit like the time stamp thing, but it's like it comes in a tin, and then within inside of it, there's a load of collectibles. You know, a lot of this stuff that I was showing there, but even more so from the films. Again, I don't think the only way you can get it now, I think, is on probably in the second-hand market. Don't know whether AJ got it or not. I was very tempted at one point. It was about 50 quid to pick it up. It wasn't cheap, considering you weren't getting any films with it. It was just all the memorabilia stuff. And there were some bits like the holographic, you know, photographs and that I think were in it. But there was a lot of other stuff that didn't appear in these sets.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, again, it's a bit different that, you know, you can just add to your collection, I suppose, of movie memorabilia.
No, that's good. I say I will look. I say being my favourite movie, I do want to get as much as I can. And obviously, while they're still around, because obviously when they pass, then everything will just skyrocket like people do.
So that photo you got, did he sign that as well?
No, so it was kind of they kind of had a reposed clock, and it was kind of a room you walk in. He's a very shy guy, and obviously in the movies he looks really tall, but obviously compared to me, I come in and towered over him, and I was like, like, "Hi, Mr. Lloyd," and he was like, "Hi," like, put your arm around him, take the picture, off you go. Next one. So you didn't really have much of a time to say anything.
No.
For that, but yeah, I think he's a bit shy anyway. So
I guess they must do it with thousands of people, mustn't they? And they just, it's almost like, next person along, you know. But for you, it's like a big deal, isn't it? Because it's your moment with somebody you've sort of, you know, watched on the big screen and, you know, part of a movie trilogy that you love. But I think that's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily chase signatures and things, because sometimes meeting these people isn't quite the same as what you see them on screen. You know, they're different people. You know, you're meeting the real person. You're not meeting the character. Shall I say?
Oh yeah, no. I'm very much. I mean, I've not really got many signatures. I mean, I've got a few little ones. I've met a few famous people, but not. Yeah, I'm not massively chasing them or anything. No. It's just my favourite trilogy. I mean, the only one I'd want to get is Brandon Lee, but unfortunately he's not with us, so that ain't gonna happen. So, but no, that's all good. I've only got one fact I can remember from Back to the Future 3, and then I'm running a bit low on information. So the only other thing I know is obviously when he gets tied, the noose around him, and then gets dragged and then gets hung. If you remember that scene, he actually got hung in real life. So you see his hand here. It actually, they were filming it, and obviously, I don't think it was like back in the or modern day where they have a belt and then it's a hoop that goes up here, and then they pretend to hang you, but you're being hung from your chest. He actually got caught, hung up, and he couldn't breathe, and he more or less passed out. And the director realised it, and they managed to cut him down in time. But yeah, that was a bit of a
that must have been frightening.
I don't know if that scene is in the movie, but I know that did happen. So,
oh wow! I'll just grab the DeLorean. I'll just show that as well.
Yeah, I can.
I don't know whether the battery still works.
Obviously, this is the Lego one with Mr. Fusion.
Yes,
we can do a comparison.
That's a nice one, isn't it? I mean, that's quite big.
Yeah, so it's Lego, but the annoying thing is Doc and Marty are this size, and then if you open it up, like, they're too small. They're like kids.
Okay, yeah.
Like an adult. But if you buy the Lego set, interesting though, you can configure it to each movie. So this is obviously 2.
Yeah.
And if I try not to break it, you'll see this red bar. So if I do it right, the wheels go up and that, and then obviously you can have a different boot, take the Mr. Fusion off, have the rod coming out. And I think if I can try and get the bonnet open, I think the bonnet opens.
Careful with Lego.
Yeah, that is the thing. But yeah, so if you can kind of see that, obviously he's got his hoverboard. Oh, so he's got hoverboards and then the plutonium box in there. So there's all these little bits in there that I thought were really, really clever.
Yes, no, it's cool. I have got a Lego Aston Martin that I still need to build. Actually, I've got a Lego, Playmobil Aston Martin Goldfinger. But yeah, this is the Playmobil. Again, when you're building these, there's not a lot to sort of add to it. It's mainly the sort of the light bits and with this one, because it's from the first film. Obviously, you've got the rod.
Yeah,
there is the Mr. Fusion thing there, but you don't get the white thing that you've got on yours. Now I don't know whether the batteries will still work, but oh yeah, there we go. So there's the lights going.
Okay, yeah, mine doesn't have lights. It does have you can open the Mr. Fusion, and I think there's a little Coke can and a banana in there.
Okay.
If I can get it out without breaking it, probably. Oh, there you go. And a banana.
Oh yeah.
So you like put the waste in there, and then you shut the Mr. Fusion down, and then it does so. All these little bits are quite clever with Lego. But yeah, it's not a cheap set. My wife bought it for me, so I'm very.
I mean, with that one, I don't know. You can see. Can you see the flux capacitor in the background?
Flashing. That's cool.
That flashes as well. So yeah, I mean, you've got the inside there. The timestamp thing is in there. It's difficult to see it, but that's in there. It does come with the figures. It comes with Marty. They're not upstairs at the moment. Marty, Doc Brown, Einstein's in there. He's got his skateboard and the camcorder as well that he has in the first film.
Yeah,
and they do actually fit inside there. You can put them in the thing. And again, I think these, the wheels do go up. Don't quite know. Oh, you press those things there.
Yeah, so don't break it. I don't want to.
They're a bit stiff, but they do. Yeah, they do change to the hover. But it doesn't have any reference to the third film. But yeah, it was just a nice little. I'd always wanted a DeLorean of some sort, and I thought I quite like the fact that the sort of the light up version with the flux capacitor in the background was quite a nice little, nice little sort of model to have. Because I think AJ's got various ones. I know he's got that one, but he's got various models for each film.
Okay.
He's got the iteration from the first film, the hover one from the second one, and then he's got the because the third one, again that's kind of never really explained, isn't it? Obviously, the gauge on the railway is, how a DeLorean would be able to fit on a railway is beyond me. But yeah, you kind of have to just sort of go with
go with the flow, and
go with the flow. Yeah, it's just a bit of fun, but there we go. So yeah, I think that's the only other thing I've got, but it's not in this room. Is like a little hoverboard on a little plinth that the son gave me, and it's got a couple of feet. Trainers from the second film. But yeah, I'd have to go in the other room to get that. Have you got any pops?
So I've got obviously we got Doc from one, and then Marty from obviously number one as well. So those two go together, and then obviously Doc, and then hoverboard Marty. There, and then probably more Lego. So these were from a computer game where you put them down and they came to life.
Okay.
And then obviously NECA have done a line. So obviously we have.
Oh, that's cool.
Marty with his guitar and glasses. From one. Oh, Marty from two. We'll do that, and let's put him.
With the cap,
yeah, with the cap, and then obviously you have the little hoverboard. If I can get it in there, so you can connect it up, even though this connection ain't the greatest, and then you can have him standing on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then two more are the only things, obviously. Biff, because why not? Yeah. And then Doc in a very surprised stuff.
That's probably from the first film, isn't it? Towards the end, I would imagine, where he's trying to get the lightning to
work,
to work on the clock tower.
Cool. Yeah, that's everything cool. I have. So I think I'm more or less out of fun facts and stuff. Shall we call it there then?
Yeah, I think it's been a great discussion. So three fantastic films, and you know, for whoever's watching, if you've not seen, if you've only seen the first one, I'd highly recommend, you know, watching 2 and 3. And like I say, you know, if you are a fan of the film, or even if you're not, you just enjoy really good musicals, yeah, definitely check out the musical, because it's you'll have a really good time, really good fun. You know, it's a good experience.
Yeah, that's it. I'd recommend all the movies all day long. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
they're
again, Matt.
just fun films, aren't they? They're just you know, yeah, just feel good films, and
Yeah.
yeah, very very 80s, but
Very 80s,
yeah,
but
sort of kind of that, you know, that time period. Yeah, there's some great films. And yeah, that was a trilogy that was, well, it spawned just into the 90s, I guess, didn't it?
yeah.
1990, but yeah. Cool.
Cool, but yeah, thank you again for Matt for joining me. I'm sure we will do another
No problem.
discussion soon. So we'll have to
Yes.
think of something else
Yeah.
to talk about.
Think of another trilogy to talk about.
Yeah.
I think I'm
will,
down to maybe talk with AJ for Indiana Jones. So I think we're going to be doing that one at some point. But yeah, certainly something else we can have a chat about.
Well, this will go out Monday, and obviously we'll be meeting up on a Saturday, so I'm sure we can talk about something when we meet up. And then
Yes, yeah, looking forward to that. We're off to the Milton Keynes Sci-Fi Museum, is it?
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, that sounds quite interesting. There's some props and things.
So there you go. If you know us and you're in Milton Keynes, you know where we will be.
Yeah, say hi if you
Come say hello. Yeah,
I'm sure we'll probably all do little videos of our experience out. I don't know whether we'll be able to film in the museum, but certainly going to probably pop into the town centre and do a little bit of shopping and Blu-ray hunting and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Be great.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Obviously, if you're liking my channel, you probably like Matt's, but if not, please do go subscribe to him. He's got some good content out there. Collections and talks with AJ's, obviously the third partner in our kind of trilogy.
Three amigos.
Yeah, Three amigos, exactly. Yeah, otherwise, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we shall definitely see you in the next one.
Bye now.